And the city of Northfield was a small, thriving community. It was a rail center on the productive Cannon River with Ames Mills on both sides of the river. Even then, Northfield was a college town and still is home to Carleton and St. Olaf colleges. So imagine, if you will, Northfield just 20 years old. The downtown buildings were mostly wood frame, with a few made of brick and stone. Streets were unpaved. The homes of the residents were built close to this downtown area, and those people were ordinary citizens, merchants, immigrants, and farmers. They were peaceful, yet determined people, used to dealing with hardships, but not people to be taken advantage of. So contrast that in your mind, if you will, with the James Younger gang. Who were these men from Missouri? Why were they so far from home, and why this bank here in Northfield? So on July 7th, 1876, 2 months to the day before the Northfield robbery, the gang held up a Missouri Pacific train at a place called Rocky Cut near Otterville, Missouri, where they made off with $18,300, an amount worth about $500,000 now. Shortly after Rocky Cut, a new member by the name of Hobbs Carey was captured and turned state's evidence. See, the gang was going to head to Texas, but once that confession by Carey, the new gang member, was published in the newspapers, the men decided to head north, likely by rail, for Minnesota. Once here, the gang spent a week in St. Paul, followed by a week in Minneapolis, staying in the finest hotels the cities had to offer. From Minneapolis, they traveled by rail to surrounding communities, searching for horses, looking over the banks in southern Minnesota, and getting acquainted with the lay of the land. Posing as cattle buyers and land speculators raised little suspicion from their inquiries. We are gathered here today not to honor a band of outlaws, but rather to pay tribute to the heroism of the peace-loving citizens of this community, especially in the memory of Joseph Lee Haywood. Joseph was a 39-year-old man who at the time of the robbery was the acting cashier of the only bank in town. He was the treasurer of Carleton College, the UCC Church, as well as Northfield Public Schools. Today, the people of Northfield pay tribute to Mr. Haywood and all the private citizens of the community that sprung into action to protect their neighbors as well as the economy of the city. A memorial stained glass window in the Congregational Church bears his name with the inscription Fidelitas, faithfulness. Another plaque is located in Leonard Hall on the Carleton College campus, inscribed by his friends as a tribute to heroic fidelity, and it concludes, "Be faithful unto death." So travel back with us. Thursday, September 7th, 1876. The place is downtown Northfield, and all seems normal in this quiet Midwest college town, with local citizens and area farmers going about their business. You're looking at the original bank building as it existed that day in 1876. So about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, 3 robbers, Bob Younger, Frank James, and Charlie Pitts, they rode across the Iron Bridge into Mill Square from the west side of town where they had just eaten lunch. These men all wore these long white linen dusters, no doubt to hide the firepower on their gun belts. These coats weren't uncommon for the time, but with so many men on horseback, it did attract some attention. The 3 came, tied their horses near the bank, and walked to the corner so they could observe their comrades taking position near the Iron Bridge, as well as taking position from the south. Next, as the 3 go into the bank, Cole Younger and Clell Miller start to ride up from division, the second group. While that first group walks into the bank and goes in, Cole dismounts, and then Clell goes to the door, closes it, and stands guard. After that, curious hardware merchant J.S. Allen attempts to follow the men into the bank, but was instantly seized by Clell Miller. Allen jerks away from Miller's grasp, and he runs towards Mill Square, and on his way he shouts a warning, "Get your guns, boys! They're robbing the bank!" Henry Wheeler becomes suspicious, and once he sees Allen's encounter, he shouts, "Robbery! Robbery!" and runs towards this hotel. The alarm was sounded. So next, Clell and Cole hop back on their horse and begin riding their saddles up and down Division Street, chasing citizens away from the bank. At this time, the third group of the three robbers who were on guard for the escape route come onto the scene once they hear the first shot fired. Those men were Jim Younger, Bill Chadwell, and Jesse James. Meanwhile, inside the bank, Bob, Frank, and Charlie, the three robbers, find three bank employees at work. Alonzo Bunker steps to the window to wait on the robbers as they come in. Seated at his desk was acting cashier Joseph Lee Haywood and assistant bookkeeper Frank Wilcox. See, the vault door was open with the safe on the inside. The safe door was shut, but not locked. The robbers didn't know that. The bank employees refused to open the safe. They told the robbers the safe had a time lock and couldn't be opened. Even when Haywood was beaten unconscious, Bunker and Wilcox still refused to open the safe. Now, in an attempt to persuade the bank employees, Charlie Pitts fires a shot near Haywood's head. At this very moment, the other teller, Alonzo, tries to run through the back door of the bank. Charlie Pitts fires 2 shots at him, the second shot hitting him in the shoulder. At this point, the battle in the street was at its height. 5 of the robbers were riding up and down the street, shooting and ordering everyone away. The people on the street take cover. Stores and offices are quickly closed. Henry Wheeler, who had dashed up into the hotel, he secures an old Army carbine rifle and stations himself at the 3rd-story window. J.S. Allen, who first sounded that alarm, also tells A.R. Manning of the robbery as he's passing the store. When Allen gets to his store, he starts handing out guns to anyone willing to join the fray. The first citizen to arrive on the scene with the gun was Elias Stacy. Stacy shoots Clell Miller in the face with a low-define birdshot, knocking him off his horse for the moment. Now back around the corner, while Allen had alerted Manning, he grabs his rifle and starts to head to the bank. But when he gets to that corner of the Scriber building, he sees 2 robbers standing behind the horse. So then he lowers his gun and shoots the horse. Clell Miller gets back on his horse and immediately is shot through the heart by Henry Wheeler up in the window, killing him instantly. As the firefight grew, Cole Younger, he rides to the bank door several times, pleading with his comrades to come out. He says, "Get out of here, we're getting shot up, get out of here." 3 times he rides to the door. Near the end of the battle, several men came onto the street. Cole Younger shot one of these men in the head, and Swedish immigrant Nicholas Gustafson died of that wound 4 days later. So A.R. Manning shooting from the base of the stairwell, Henry Wheeler shooting up in the hotel window, with all the other armed men finally put the men to flight. A.R. Manning had killed Bob Younger's horse, wounded Cole Younger in the hip, and killed Bill Chadwell. Henry Wheeler, from his vantage point, missed Jim Younger with his first shot, kills Clell Miller with his second shot, and severely wounds Bob Younger in the elbow with his third shot. Because of this injury, Bob had to switch hands to shoot and mount the same horse as his wounded brother Cole before headed south. 6 robbers on 5 horses escaped town. The battle was over. From its beginning to its end, it lasted but 7 minutes. The funds in the bank were intact. 6 robbers were in flight, with at least 2 of them badly wounded. Bank employee Alonzo Bunker had been shot in the shoulder. Nicholas Gustafson had been shot in the head. Lying in the street were the bodies of Clell Miller and Bill Chadwell. And in the bank, the body of Joseph Lee Haywood. And now we present to you the Northfield Bank Raid, presented by us modern-day merchants and citizens and reenactors from the James Younger Bank. This first group includes Bob Younger, Charlie Pitts, and Frank James, Jesse's brother. Frank is the one inside the bank that will take the life of Joseph Lee Haywood. These men had stopped into the bank earlier in the day, maybe to check the time or to have a bill broken so they could see how many employees were on duty, maybe get a look inside the cash drawer. And they're riding the best horses money can buy. Well-spoken men, distinguished looking, uniform looking, started to attract attention. But they were smart. They wanted to feel out citizens, talk to some of the locals, also check the position of the two groups, one on the rail, on the iron bridge back there, and another group that will be coming in from the south. You'll see Henry Wheeler. He's home from medical school, sitting on the street, just watching. Henry would play a vital part in the defense of this town. I want to stress how violent it gets inside the bank. What we don't see, what happened to that poor man. When you go in, you see the bank and you realize this is exactly as it happened that day. These two are Cole Younger and Cole Miller. You see the job of the first three guys was decide whether they should go in or not. And Cole says to Cole, they better not go in, there's too many people on the street. If they go in, the alarm will be sounded. And he was right. And we will have some shots fired soon. Curious hardware merchant here. He was the last person in the bank. He turned around and goes back in to check it out. He wants to see what's going on.
No, I'm out of the way. Get out of the way. No, go to the bank. I'm going to the bank. Get your guns, boys. They're robbing the bank.
Jadi bukan dia. Cool.
The back Jesse James, Chadwell, Jim Younger. Shoulders are lifting guns. They're starting to They're trying to get the guys out of the bank. The first guy on the scene is Elias Stacy.
Poor baby.
Bob is hit. As these men flee town, chaos ensues.
Because a horse.
Called in from around the state, and men would arrive for the largest manhunt in U.S. history. The men would be on the run when either 4 of the 6 are captured or killed near Madelia, Minnesota on September 21st. The younger brothers end up going to prison for life, and they, Jesse and Frank make it all the way back to Missouri. They do make it home, and they will be coming back this way. Just hang. We want to make sure everybody's up and good.
Yay! That was cool. Yeah.
Thanks, Bert. Pretty great job.
Thank you.
We are going to do one more reenactment at 12:30. That is limited seating. Just want to give you a heads up if you want to come back for more. But